Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet
Prof, from the way you're going, it looks like we should brace ourselves for more hard times. Is that what it is?
That's what it means. You can get, somebody can tell you that, you know what, this, but, you know, the reality is there. And Ghana needs to take certain hard decisions. But I think we have to be truthful to ourselves at a certain point. Okay, and be driven by the data. So if what the data communicates is not comfortable to government or to whoever, that is what it is. Let's come to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Because we cannot pretend about this. And if you look at the horizon, now we've been priced out of the Eurobond market.
Yeah.
If you look at the horizon, the next 3 to 4 years, and it may be longer than that because government also missed an important move, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know something?
Tell me.
The market is looking for certain things. It's not just salary cuts. It's not fuel allowance to ministers. No. Reduce the number of ministers. That's more effective. Merge some of the ministries. In the last 15 years, we've created so many parastate agencies and institutions who are almost doing the same thing. Some of them are actually not doing anything, but annually they are receiving budgetary allocation.
Yeah.
That is not growth-friendly spending. So we failed to do the critical thing. And therefore, if you say fuel, this, no travel, no V8, this, that doesn't move the market. I'm not interested in that. That's not a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see something similar to what Cote d'Ivoire did in April 2022.
What did they do?
Cote d'Ivoire then had 41 ministers, and they decided to reduce it to 32.
Pragmatic, right?
Our neighbors, Cote d'Ivoire.
So it means we need more pragmatic measures, not reduction in V8.
And drastic. A policy prescription that recognizes that you are living on the edge.
We should show to the world that we are in trouble.
Yes.
And you don't think that we are showing enough?
We are not.
And our budget as it stands today will not change anything?
It's an important first step, but it's not adequate. And it failed to trigger the critical things. Look, if you say cut salaries of this, even with the difficulty of monitoring, fuel, this. Do you know something? The reality on it, these are not reforms. Ghana needs governance reforms. And that is why we are of the view that even if we secure a staff-level agreement with the IMF this year, and the program eventually approved by the IMF Executive Board, that program will not be enough to address the challenges because we need something more than an economic program. We need to initiate immediately, like yesterday, certain governance reforms, right, to be pursued along the reforms that will come under the IMF program. Because reforms are more effective when they are bundled together and when they reinforce each other. Our democracy is too expensive. Split the budget. And that's what the government is struggling to cut. Which one to cut? It's too expensive. It leaves little for growth-enhancing spending. Our future only comes when we allocate appropriately to CAPEX with the necessary efficiency in our public investment management process.
Prof, when you listen to the budget as presented by the finance minister, some have said that some of the measures he has mentioned, like freezing on public sector employment, increasing VAT, and looking at other ways to raise revenue, probably are part of the IMF consideration. So he's going ahead to put some of these things in place so that we'll look good with the IMF. Do you get that same impression?
Where it is now, it's just like when you see fish.
Mm-hmm.
In the water, do you conclude whether the fish is drinking some of the water or not? So we've brought this upon ourselves. Sometimes some of the conditionalities we say is from the IMF. These are deferred actions that we should have taken over the years.
By ourselves. Mm-hmm.
So if you fail to do that and they have resulted in a certain situation and you go for a treatment in the hospital, they want to do it in such a way that with all these things will be solved within the shortest possible time that you are under the program.
And so do you get a sense that it could be part of the program?
I think that the strategy government would adopt to achieve fiscal consolidation has more to do with us. Remember, the IMF doesn't manage our economy for us.
No.
And that is why, if you check the IMF itself, is very strategic. They said, we were told that they were supposed to come in before the budget will be presented, 15th, and therefore they had to postpone it. The fund will rather come after the budget has been presented. In other words, the fund is waiting to see how the government will use the 2023 budget to demonstrate its commitment, its appreciation of the problem, and how it will deal with it. Of course, the expectation was given that there's been a lot of negotiation in Washington and online and all of that. To the fund, the budget must demonstrate and mirror some of the broad-based fiscal framework issues that have been agreed. Yes, the fund will be interested in how you want money. It's a lending. You go to the bank, you want a loan. You have to demonstrate to the bank. Even if the bank tells you this is what you have to do and the rest of them, at the end you have to accept it. You have to own it.
Prof, before I wrap up, you mentioned earlier that there's no convergence between the knowledge economy and the political economy, and then you cited e-levy as one of the examples where if there was a certain marriage between the knowledge economy and the political economy, probably we would have done it better. Looking at where we are today, should we have hope?
I think when confidence is wounded and faith is pierced, and trust is impaired, as someone has said, we must keep hope alive. Let's be hopeful, but also let's hold our people to accountability, okay? And let's do it regardless of our political affiliations. We have one future, we have one country. Now, take this. When things are bad, it's not bad for everybody.
Yeah.
Some people may be making it out of the mess, and they have an interest in keeping the status quo as it is. But that may not benefit majority, okay? So we are looking at certain reforms that is inclusive. That, because, look, well, if you, part of what we do is modeling and forecasting, right? So if you look at the way we are going, we are creating financially repressed society. Okay. And if we are not careful, that in itself may unsettle the stability that we have. I don't mean bad, right? But
I understand you, yes.
But let's be very careful. You can postpone marriage. You can disengage after engagement. You can delay childbirth. But how long can you postpone hunger? Right. So it's not easy for a lot of people, and we don't need to do that to ourselves.
Well. In fact, I need you here in the studio one day for another lecture. This has been quite insightful. But I like the way you've thrown it all out there, but you end up by saying, let's keep hope alive. We will. But trust me, when we are confused, we'll come back to you again for explanations. I appreciate your time. God bless you back, Prof. Thank you very much for your time.
Bye-bye.
Professor Godfred Alufa Bokpeng is an economist, Prof of Finance, Senior Lecturer, University of Ghana Business School.
Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet you.